भारत की अध्यक्षता में होने वाली G20 के लिए जलवायु वित्त पोषण में तेजी लाने को एकजुट हुए फ्रांसीसी और भारतीय विशेषज्ञ। मुंबई में 28 नवंबर 2022 को जलवायु चुनौतियों को लेकर भारतीय वित्तीय प्रणाली में कितना लचीलापन है, इस सवाल का जवाब ढूंढने के लिए AAFD एजेंट फ्रांसेस डे डेवलपमेंट, फ्रेंच डेवलपमेंट एजेंसी ने भारतीय लघु उद्योग विकास बैंक और भारतीय थिंक टैंक शक्ति सस्टेनेबल एनर्जी फाउंडेशन के साथ मिलकर एक साझा प्रयास करने की पहल की। 2022 की शुरुआत में भारतीय वित्त प्रणाली को हरित बनाने के उद्देश्य से द इंडियन फाइनेंशियल सिस्टम्स इनिशिएटिव ने एक प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस के जरिए ये बातें साझा की।
The conclusion of three series, or let me say 3 event series, and we had the first event which took place during COVID, so that was online. The second was in Paris in June of 22, and this is the third event. What we are focusing on is, as the name suggests, greening the Indian financial system. So therefore the acronym is GIFS. What we intend to achieve is essentially twofold. One, create a much higher level of awareness amongst the entire Indian system. When we talk about, we're really talking about the financing system, but we are very open to more than the financing system coming on board. So I think one of the essential takeaways of today's discussion was that the financing system supports the real economy, and therefore the real economy needs to come on board and get the benefit of what we call as the green component of the financing system. So our deliberations went across the entire banking sector, which was represented here. The IBA chief executive, in a sense, symbolically represented the banking system. We had captains from the industry. We had knowledge experts. So the entire gamut of all those people who need to take the Indian economy forward when it comes to progress and development, with full consideration of what is green development. As all of you are well aware, the developing world is looking towards the developed world for a lot of assistance. It is therefore AFD's global interest, and they are now, I think, acknowledged leaders in helping the world set standards and also put those standards into operation. So this obviously is going to happen over quite a period of time. It's not something that will happen overnight. And AFD, of course, has been at it for a while. SIDBI is actually the operating partner in India because we have a mandate to carry this forward across the MSME sector, and which of course is a very vast sector, but it is a sector that could get adversely impacted by the transition to green if we do not act early enough. And of course, Shakti brings in a tremendous amount of knowledge, expertise, domain expertise. So, as I said, it is about the awareness creation, and the second is really about the flow of finance, which is now predicated upon a risk matrix which is more than just a regular risk matrix which a credit organization goes by, but involves a sufficient sensitization of the green components of development and growth. So for a very, to give you a very simple example, if we were to appraise a project which involves generating power with coal, it would end up looking very different from the way it was done 10 years ago. Right. So, we cannot get away from the fact that developing country has a need to develop, and therefore sources of power are not just going to stop. Coal-based power is not just going to stop, but we need to therefore bring in the additional risk due to the adverse effects or the externalities of using coal-based power. So, it's a very simple example just to put it to you. So, today's conference was a great success. The partners, three of us sitting in front of you, and the IBA, we signed a joint declaration, therefore cementing our our enthusiasm, the commitment, the future plan for taking forward the greening of the Indian financial system. So let me hand it over to my two partners here to add in a few words.
Thanks a lot, and thanks to you all. So I'm Rémi Rioux, I'm the CEO of AFD, which is, yes, the International Public Development Bank of France. And of course, France, so first of all, it was really a privilege to participate this event here in Mumbai. Fascinating to see the whole Indian ecosystem in this in-depth dialogue about its transformation to turn to sustainable and climate finance, meaning our fellow public development banks here in India, CB, Exim, Natfeed, NABARD were there, but also SBI, the private banking, also many investors, impact investors, and also SEBI, the regulator, and RBI, the central bank, were in the room. And yes, I feel well, in each and every country in the world, you see the climate, the financial system sector becoming more and more aware of the challenges that we are already facing, and we know that there's more to come, and we understand that there's no one silver bullet, and so the solution has to come from the whole system maturing and stepping in and taking responsibility. So many French colleagues participated all year long to this discussion to share with Indian colleagues what is happening in France and in Europe, more broadly speaking, and we are here certainly to invest, but also to listen and to understand how India is doing it, and can inspire, of course, the rest of the world. This is really the spirit of the Paris Agreement. I was one of the negotiators back in 2015, and I can measure the progress made for the last 7 years on this issue. So it's way insufficient yet, but it's only very short time frame, and the discussions we had together today and all year long were totally impossible 7 years ago. So we feel the urgency, we feel the pressure. I think we're all highly conscious of the dramatic challenges ahead, but the message is really a message of trust, of friendship, and of mobilization. And of course, it rests on our side the action from AFD for the last 15 years now in the country. So I think it created, yes, this trust and friendship with us. And we will certainly be very attentive on the way this forum between practitioners, professional of the financial sector here in Mumbai is gaining ground, and if acceptable, of course, invite other international partners willing to support or willing to learn from it or willing to exchange best practices. And I close by saying that I will be in Delhi on Wednesday, and of course we all turn to the G20 presidency, Indian presidency. This was maybe the other reason I'm here the first week of the presidency, again to express the support of France and our willingness to contribute very actively to the priorities set by the presidency. And we heard from many authorities in the room, including the chairperson of the Standing Committee on Finance of the Indian Parliament, that sustainable finance in both dimensions, meaning international solidarity. So you know all the discussions in Egypt about the 100 billion from Copenhagen, now the loss and damage dimension that we added to the discussion, and we certainly need to unlock way more international finance investments. President Macron, my president, invited to a summit on international finance by June, certainly in close cooperation with the Indian presidency, but it's not only international solidarity investments, it's also domestic resource mobilization, it's also the transformation of the financial system in each and every country in the world if we want to unlock the trillions of investment that are here already, but that need to be of the required quality, that have to turn green. And for that we need the infrastructure, we need the certification, we need a system that avoids greenwashing and certify that we are doing the right investments. So,
think tank ecosystem in India, the climate think tank ecosystem, to advance climate action. And I will mainly talk about the need and urgency for this joint initiative, the Green India Financial System. So as you will know, our Honorable Prime Minister at last COP26, the Chief of Parties COP26 at UNFCCC, made this announcement that India will become net zero emissions by 2070. And he was quite categorical when he said that India's climate objectives will be aligned with our developmental objectives. And a number of studies that we have supported really demonstrate this fact. You know, this energy economic transition that we are talking about will lead to more clean jobs, around 40 to 45 million more jobs by 2050, higher GDP by 3 to 5 percentage points by 2050, as well as better quality of life, clean air, better health outcomes, all of that. I think the real question now is, how do we get the upfront investments required for this kind of transition? And the numbers that we have heard in the conference today, they range anywhere between $150 to $200 billion per year. And if you look at the latest numbers, India currently we have around $45 billion per year coming into green investments. So the deficit is quite large. And this is where I think the importance of this kind of initiative comes into play. How do we bring in this additional climate finance into India to meet our energy and economic transition? And while international banks, international climate finance, private finance will have an important role to play, right now if you look at the scale of their finance, it's not much. And one of the main reasons for that is we need to make our financial system, the domestic financial system, more resilient and conducive to climate investments.